fight, say Crawford, like immediately. They're not even debating it. Are they making a mistake?
Well, time will tell. I mean, in the end, if you make me pick, I'll pick Crawford.
All the events. Everyone's talking about the one fight right now, Terence Crawford versus Canelo. Who do you got?
I gotta go Terence Crawford.
Terence Crawford?
Yeah.
Why?
This is the best ever.
Canelo goes in there and underestimates Crawford's strength. That could be a mistake, okay? It only takes a few pounds of pressure to hurt a guy. You don't need to be that big of a guy to hurt a guy.
Max Kellerman has warned that Terence Crawford might be the man to retire Canelo Álvarez. He describes Crawford as sharp, twitchy, and unpredictable, with a knack for disguising his timing. Kellerman notes that Crawford often spends the early rounds studying opponents before unleashing pinpoint, damaging shots. In his view, Canelo's power alone may not be enough against Crawford's adaptability, which makes this one of the most dangerous challenges of the Mexican star's career.
Crawford is a Spence has a very high work rate. We've seen Spence win behind a jab and defense on a world-class level. He's also a real hard hitter, and he's twitchy, and he's very aggressive. So usually Crawford likes to study a guy for a couple rounds, and then he kind of, okay, now I got it, and then he does it. But against Spence, you might have to hurt him or knock him out, because you turn around, and if Crawford messes around, you're down 4-1 after 5 rounds, and not against the guy who's looking to survive, against the guy who's looking to beat you up. On the other hand, Spence also has to worry about the fact that he's been through a lot in his life so far. And Crawford, although he also has been really about boxing for a lot of years now. Usually that guy will have the advantage in the moment of truth. And Crawford's always made adjustments. He's probably the best adjusting fighter in the sport.
Shaquille O'Neal, the NBA icon known as much for his dominance on the court as for his bold opinions off it, has thrown his full support behind Terence Crawford ahead of the blockbuster showdown with Canelo Álvarez. Shaq called Crawford the best fighter of this generation, perhaps even of all time, praising his rare ability to adjust mid-fight with perfect blends of timing, precision, and composure under pressure. In O'Neal's view, Crawford's sharp mind and natural instincts will ultimately be too much for Canelo. For him, this fight isn't just another marquee clash, it's an opportunity for Crawford to cement his place in history. By openly picking Bud to win, Shaq joins a growing list of high-profile voices backing Crawford to shock the boxing world once again.
Listen, you're a lifelong combat sports fan. You go to all the events. Everyone's talking about the one fight right now, Terence Crawford versus Canelo. Who do you got?
Terence Crawford.
Terence Crawford?
Yeah.
Why?
He's the best ever.
Really? You think he's the greatest ever? Over Ali, Muhammad Ali? I didn't know you were a big Terence Crawford fan like that.
You have to understand that there's eras and different eras. You can bring up the titles, like, for example, Joker's the best big man.
Right. You put Joker over you as the best big man? Oh.
Era. It's not my era in the time.
True.
It's their time. So he's the greatest big man in the world. So I let the people decide who you are. But right now, Terence Crawford is and Floyd before it was never lost.
So how does Terence beat Canelo? Decision? Or he's going to knock Canelo out? So they're going to have the fight at the Vegas Stadium, Raiders Stadium. You're going to be there?
I heard it was off.
No, it's back on. Okay, now it's back on. It's in September 13th in Vegas. You'll be there. Front row? Front row?
Of course.
All right, cool. You're the man. Listen, I saw you lace up the gloves once versus Oscar De La Hoya. Can we ever see you put the gloves back on? Maybe versus Dwight Howard.
Only fight champions.
You only fight you.
See, my thing is, all these guys have a problem with me, but you wait till I turn 50 to say you want to fight.
Right.
All respect that. I'll fight Gronk. Gronk is a champion, and he's a friend of mine. I know that he'll compete.
So you want to box Gronk or MMA?
Well, MMA.
MMA.
Yeah.
Hey, big respect. You're a legend. Hey, you're always the coolest. Congrats on another successful year at Shaq.
Former world champion Timothy Bradley weighed in forcefully on the matchup, pushing back against the buzz surrounding Canelo Álvarez sparring with Jaron Ennis. Some speculated that Crawford might feel intimidated knowing Canelo was sharpening himself against such elite talent. Bradley flatly dismissed the idea, insisting Terence Crawford is not a man who gets rattled by what happens in another fighter's camp. In Bradley's words, Bud is built differently. He praised Crawford's confidence, resilience, and proven ability to rise in big moments, even declaring him the greatest of all time. To Bradley, the Omaha-born champion is mentally unshakable, technically superior, and fully prepared to embrace the challenge without being swayed by outside noise.
Bradley, who the hell is I ain't scared. He ain't scared. King Crawford ain't scared. We ain't never scared. Y'all better get it right. Shoot. Hey, Canelo, you might be getting that price at 300. You getting that price at 300 work right now. That's what you getting. But you ain't getting that. You getting that Bentley on the 13th. You getting that Bentley on the 13th, my boy. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead and play with that price of 300. You getting the real on the 13th. I promise you, man. Shoot. I've been saying this since the first day I sparred this man. Trust me. I'm telling y'all, man, out there. Crawford is a different animal. Yes, he's something like a Michael Jordan. He's something like a Kobe Bryant. He's something like a LeBron James. Yeah. Damn it, he a GOAT. I'm telling y'all. GOAT. GOAT. When y'all gonna step up, man? When y'all gonna believe me, man? What do I gotta continue to tell y'all? We gonna figure it out. Shoot, Crawford is Ali. Crawford Sugar Ray Robinson. Crawford Mayweather. Yeah. Got Hagler in him. You got Duran in him. Understand that. Y'all think this is a game, man? Y'all think I'm just blowing smoke up my mind? I'm not. No. I'm telling y'all. We gonna figure it out.
One of the most intriguing narratives ahead of the fight is Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s reported visit to Terence Crawford's training camp. As one of the few men to have defeated Canelo Álvarez, Mayweather carries unique insight into the challenge. His blueprint, anchored in sharp defense, slick counterpunching, and the ability to frustrate Canelo with precision, remains a masterclass more than a decade later. For Crawford, having direct access to Floyd's wisdom could prove invaluable. Reports suggest Mayweather emphasized discipline, patience, and seizing the small openings in Canelo's style, lessons drawn straight from the playbook that once handed the Mexican superstar a rare defeat.
39 wins by way of knockout will not learn and not be able to pick up from Jerron Boots Willis sparring Canelo Álvarez. There's an uproar because Jerron Boots Ennis, African-American fighter, black boxer, has joined the Mexican camp to help prepare the Mexican fighter, Canelo Álvarez, defeat another African-American fighter, which he needs Jerron Ennis to give him looks of the undefeated pound-for-pound king, 4-division world champion, 2-division undisputed world champion, superstar boxer who will be a first ballot Hall of Famer once he retires as well, in Terence Bud Crawford, who had 41 wins, no loss, no draw, 31 wins by way of knockout.
Terence Crawford's physical strength at 147 pounds has long been one of his most underrated weapons. Though he rose from lighter divisions, he has repeatedly shown the power and toughness to handle bigger opponents. What makes his Canelo preparation even more striking is his reported sparring with former pound-for-pound king Andre Ward. An undefeated champion and master technician, Ward brings experience and nuance that few can replicate. Working with him forces Crawford to adjust to complex strategies, elevate his ring IQ, and refine his defensive instincts. Combined with his natural strength and tireless work ethic, these sessions suggest Crawford may be entering the fight at his absolute peak. The message is unmistakable. Bud isn't just a natural winner, he's a fighter who prepares at the very highest level.
Got the shot, black guy. I see the comments in the last video that I did. Okay, but you have to break some things down into perspective here. First and foremost, Terence Crawford is very strong, 147 pounds. He's not a regular guy. He's not a regular 147 pounds. Another thing is, he's an extremely determined fighter. The guys that went deep cut from the same cloth, Andre Ward, Floyd Mayweather. You only get fighters between fraud in decades. I have that kind of aura, that kind of determination. Now, we want to break it down fundamentally. Don't get me wrong, Canelo is a strong fighter. You know, he's proven himself. He got a great chin. He's fought some of the best fighters that you can ask for. But he's not that much bigger if you ask him. They're about the same size and height. Now, don't get me wrong, he's a little bit wide. He's a little bit, paused, right? Like, as far as his frame goes.
Veteran analyst Max Kellerman has called the upcoming showdown the biggest event of his career. Though he has covered many of boxing's most historic nights, he believes Canelo Álvarez vs Terence Crawford carries a weight beyond them all, even eclipsing the massive Jake Paul vs Mike Tyson spectacle. In his view, the fight rises above normal hype because it features two true pound-for-pound greats, each embodying a different chapter of the sport. Canelo represents modern boxing dominance and star power, while Crawford stands as the embodiment of technical brilliance and resilient underdog spirit. For Kellerman, this is boxing at its purest, two champions colliding without excuses, politics, or delays. The anticipation, he argues, isn't just about record-breaking audiences, it's about defining legacies.
Where would you rank this fight out of your top 3 to 5 of all the boxing fights you've called, you've experienced, you've watched?
In terms of the magnitude
yeah,
of the
magnitude,
fight?
yeah.
I mean, of the fights that I've called ringside, it might turn out to be number 1. I've done Pacquiao fights, I've done Mayweather fights, I've done Anthony Joshua against Klitschko. Those are big fights, but this will, listen, because of Netflix, this will be the most watched fight, championship fight, in almost 50 years. This is going to be because Muhammad Ali fought Leon Spinks in the rematch in '78, and they did 90 million TV sets. 90 million. And since then, what has even come close? The biggest fights have all been on pay-per-view, and they do 2 million buys. Oh my God, 4 million buys, Mayweather Pacquiao. As I keep saying, 5 people per TV set watch, per buy, watch. That's 20 million people. This is going to do multiples of that. So, so when you look at it from like a commercial point of view, it'll easily be the biggest boxing event I've ever covered.
When asked to rank the magnitude of Canelo Álvarez vs Terence Crawford, Max Kellerman admitted it could end up as the biggest fight he has ever covered ringside. He recalled calling Pacquiao fights, Mayweather fights, and even Anthony Joshua vs Vladimir Klitschko, but pointed out that none carried the potential reach of this event. Because of Netflix, Kellerman argued, this bout could become the most watched championship fight in nearly half a century. He drew a comparison to Muhammad Ali's 1978 rematch with Leon Spinks, which reached 90 million television sets. Since then, even the sport's largest pay-per-view blockbusters, Mayweather vs Pacquiao included, have only reached a fraction of that audience. In Kellerman's view, the commercial and cultural scale alone makes this fight unprecedented. At the same time, many experts believe the version of Canelo that shows up on fight night will decide everything. Critics argue his recent outings have lacked the explosiveness and stamina of his prime years. Against Crawford, they say, only the relentless, pressure-driven Canelo, the one with devastating combinations and unbreakable endurance, can prevail. If he chooses caution or underestimates Crawford's timing, he risks being systematically picked apart. For analysts, the stakes are clear. This fight doesn't just test Canelo's skills, it tests whether he can summon the very best of himself to protect his legacy.
Canelo's meaty workout. So what do we see there? We see a little bit of what he wants to do to take advantage of a right-hand southpaw matchup. Get his lead foot on the outside, bang the right hand down the pipe, set it up with the jab, and maybe even fire that jab at the lead hand of Crawford to just get it touch, step outside right hand down the middle. We saw Canelo doing a lot of cross-stepping, which is, I think, a bad idea versus someone who has good angle manipulation like Crawford does, right? Every wasted movement is going to be a capitalization for Crawford to try to fire back on it. And Canelo is going to be there to be hit with some counter punches. Make no mistake about it, Canelo will stand in the pocket. Yes, he'll try to make Crawford miss, but sometimes he'll even eat a couple so that he can be there behind that high guard, taking punches to look for one of the big ones on his own counter shot. So that can be a little bit of the gamesmanship too. That can be a little bit of the chess game going on, is who's going to land the bigger counter punch and how many of those can Crawford take moving up to 168 versus Canelo, who has been there and is fighting a guy that has fought at a lot smaller weight, that hasn't seen the power, like we talked about, the narratives being built, that Canelo brings at 168. Even now, all those things will come into play. I think a big important part of this fight is just how much Canelo utilizes his lead hand, because I'm telling you, it's going to be the most important thing in this fight. I really think Canelo is back on his jab and is able to mask some of the stuff that he loves to do, which is that lead hook to the body, smashing hook on the arms, on the body, on the shoulders. He's able to hide it just a little bit and then hit you with that timing, that Canelo Álvarez timing that's been perfect, that put down Amir Khan, that put down Billy Joe Saunders, that found the button on Kovalev. Those punches, that timing, it's not just speed, it's not just power, it's throwing in between, it's finding the right shot. Those things can make all the difference in the world, because I would almost bet everything I own that if Canelo lands clean on Crawford, it's going to have far more of an effect than Crawford lands standing clean on Canelo. And that's not even because both guys don't possess power. Crawford possesses power. He's put a lot of guys down. But Canelo, we've seen, has an iron chin, and I watched Crawford get rocked by Gamboa. Again, different time period, I get that, but I don't think that as you get older, even as you go up in weight, that somehow makes you more readily available to take flush punches.